Namaste. Welcome to the highlights of the session Om number 2. So, the Master has been discussing many interesting subjects during this lesson, and I've taken some notes so to be sure to convey at the best of my possibilities what are my picks on all this subject. So very interestingly, the session started with the announce, which is already well known, that we are on a new energy grid. Many of you already know that the Earth is surrounded by an energy grid. They call them ley lines sometimes, and these allow the frequencies of the cosmic energy to interpolate, to interconnect with the human consciousness, also Mother Earth consciousness. So it's very important, and in the past a lot of temples or a lot of pyramids of sacred sites were built exactly in a nodal point of this energy grid. So the Master, in introducing this change of the energy grid, wanted to focus upon very important topics for us. That is the creation of egregore. What are these egregores? Thought forms that are around every human being, and that are in the invisible, in the spiritual, energetically surrounding us, and also they can be projected when we want to create something, when we ask for something, when we have a desire, a wish for something, we are constantly creating this egregor. So the Master proposed to change this name, the name egregor, with a new name, since we are in a new energy grid, and very subtly the law of the creation of this thought form has changed. So he said egregor are the basis or elementary structure from which entire life situations and all materializes in the physical world. Okay? And the new name that he proposed is Planck-Patipa. Planck-Patipa. Why this name? Because the definition is that which connects to the present light. Exactly as the present light grid has changed, Planck-Patipa is to better understand the shift in this perception. Also because the name egregor has been misused many times, and as it has an halo not so clean around it. That was an old knowledge that used to be hidden back in the days, because for people that were not vibrating in the right direction, in a clean state, that could be used wrongly. The knowledge of the egregor. It's like the secret, the book The Secret, when they say it has been a secret for many years because in the hands of people who were not aligned with the greater good, it could be significantly impact on a negative way. But nowadays, we don't have to fear that anymore, because the collective consciousness is raised enough to allow the knowledge from each and every one. So, in the old grid, the Master said, the geometric structure of the egregor could never use the real energy of the present moment. So various egregores from various present moments has to be formed in order to achieve in a final present moment the materialization, the realization of the wishes. In the present grid, that is no more possible, in a sense that now nowadays one could never cheat with energy. Now could never say something, propose as something, and then hid his real energy and create something different, using the energy that has been requested before. Because in the new grid there is no delay. You cannot use energy that are not within the circle of your actual present moment. What is the size of energy of your present moment decided? How is this decided? It is decided by the extent of your perception. What level of perception are you in? Are you allowing in your consciousness? At what frequency are you perceiving reality? And for frequency we intend the vibration, the core vibration, the cleanness of your processing, of your being. Okay. In order to create, the more you are spiritually evolved, the more energy you carry in your perception, because there is an expansion of your consciousness. So you are able to create egregor, that lang patipa, that really affect and function in the new world, in the new energy, for the new grid. I already felt that, and I'm happy to receive this confirmation that in the whole energy, the human being, he can decide if you want to evolve spiritually or stay organically with the human level of consciousness. No, so don't be spiritual in a sense, but still be able to create. So what does it mean? It means that one have a choice, and most of the people, as we know, they choose. It is so good to create in life, adventure, money, whatever, without working on your spiritual. Just be projected in the outside. That has been possible till now, and in fact we can see that how the power center of the society has been colonized by people who have no interest in the greater good. In the new energy, we have no choice. You have no choice. In order to expand your capability to create something for you, you have to expand your vibration. You have to expand your point of perception, the extent of your perception. What does mean perception? That means that you have to be conscious of what you are creating, what you are impacting. And also the perception of your inner being that is telling you what is right, what is not right for you. You have to be more conscious. So if you don't evolve, if you don't are on a spiritual path, you will have not even the basic of creation as it was for the whole grid. And eventually the masters say all human beings will be thrown to seek greater evolution. And so the complacent one will become contributors of real value for this universe. And that's a great news, it's a good news, really good news. That will be the reason why people will be compelled to evolve in order to live a better life. It's a good news for us, we are already on the path. Maybe a little less for people, and I'm not joking, for people that needs to realign with their true self. And I hope we are here to steward this process and to help many people to do the right choices and awake to spirituality. So the masters also said that the perception of this new grid and the creation of an egregor can be felt now almost physically, and I must say it happens to me. Like the other weeks, I felt like a density all around my body as I was truly immersed in no, creation of a new egregor. I had a situation, a life situation, very deep inside myself that needs some refresh, needs some change. And the more I thought about this, as I was walking on the street, I felt my whole body immersed in this kind of dense energy. But it was almost pleasurable because it was resonating with my intention, and I can feel the energetic spark all around me, almost merging with the oneness, with the one consciousness. Again, another point it was that was regarding we was trying to illustrate why it's so important to create this egregor. One may think that you can live without this thing, but honestly, as the master pointed out, it is nothing can be done in this material world without before being created in the spiritual world. And he said we can use the word spiritual or also invisible world, because it's a word which is beyond our senses but still is affecting the reality. Even if we think about our emotion, our thoughts, no? Our feelings, those are all not visible, invisible. Nonetheless, they are the very basis of our self, our decision, of how we behave in public. So again, this was referring also to the fact that our higher self, our creator self, as he called the master, is constantly thinking, creating our future, our many possibilities that can be. So it's a very powerful mind. It's like a computer, very evolved, and we are in our present moment. We can decide what line to take. This is a teaching that has been done very much for the Russian people. You can change your line, temporal line, and go in a good direction for you or in a bad direction. And the power of changing it is in the present moment. Again, the master very interestingly give us a definition of spiritual being, because we say you have to become spiritual, you have to awake. So what is a spiritual being? The spiritual being is the consciousness that has already generated in itself the need for self-awareness, and also the necessity, desire, impulse to continually acquire greater self-knowledge, expansion. So you are aware that inside of you there is a self-aware. There is a presence, we call it sometimes. And also you feel the impulse to acquire great knowledge of this self. What has the rule, what has the law. So the master said in this new grid, now is the moment to activate your self-awareness program. I love this definition. Activate your self-awareness program. We don't speak about awakening. It's the same. When we say awakening, it's like if you have to do all by yourself, it's a little bit scary. But if you name it a self-awareness program, and your self-awareness, it's like you already know that there is a program inside yourself that already knows what to do, how to guide you towards your spiritual evolution. Why people are not doing so? Or at least why many people are doing that, but there is still a large majority of people who are not activating this program because of the fear of the old tube of perception, we call it so. It's like a tube of perception. It's your mind. People are afraid to rely on something different than their own mind, of what they already know, and to go beyond the perception of their senses and of their limited human self. There is this fear of going beyond the tube of perception. He called it the tube of perception. It gives the idea of a tube which is well defined, well closed. And it is in our mind. The way we knew reality is just all in our mind. We are not able to go beyond this many times, go beyond this threshold. There is fear. There is fear there. So he said, you are identified with it. But what happens when you go beyond? When you eventually, finally, you are able to go beyond your tube of perception, you will witness your creator self. You will become aware that there is an higher self, a creator self, another part of you, and which is creating your own reality. He said, moment by moment, centimeter by centimeter, millimeter by millimeter. He's creating all that you perceive. So in this sense, we can see that we are the creator of our reality. A part of us is so smart, so intelligent, is able to every moment to create the reality that we perceive. And this is not really comprehensible. It doesn't to be comprehensible because from a human perspective, we can only understand a limited part of it. And this is also good because we can maintain our sanity. The only thing that we need to know is that there is the desired self, and create a connection with it in order to be guided. So let's follow the hint of the master. He said, this is the matrix. Like in the movie, we see that beyond reality there is something more, an intelligence. And also, interestingly, he said that in this corridor of realities which is beyond our perceptual scale, so from the red to the violet in the visible scale, for example, once we go beyond that, we can witness some beings that sometimes we call it eti mistakenly. The master called them atroniaume, which are beings that are beyond the evolution. They are not a dark being or light being, they are just quite particular in their own way, as the master tend to describe them. So then he spoke about this imprisonment. He said this is a very dear topic to him, as he already has presented one of his passion, like freedom. He is the champion of freedom. So to speak about imprisonment, it's like to help spread the freedom. And why we are imprisoned? We are imprisoned mostly in our own mind, as we said. The first imprisonment a human being has is that there is perception only if the mind can detect it. There is perception only if we can detect it with our mind, with our senses, as we said. But there is freedom when a consciousness no longer needs to use any confining apparatus to gain a mental notion. What is a confining apparatus? It's a bias, it's a way of thinking, it's a closeness of some feeling, of some sensation, it's a fear, it's a pre-stamped way of thinking, which is not let the freedom of flowering, of expansion of our consciousness, to open up to new reality. Yes, in a healthy way, with the right pace, but this is the time not to be anymore confined in the old structure. No, because this is the way to happiness, this is the way to evolution. Also, what is the first thing that we need to open up about is the presence of the creator self, of the higher self. is be able to communicate with your inner self, to receive guidance, because the masters say it has the ability to support your physical life. It's like if you have someone who is trying to help you all the time, but you are not aware of it, and you are struggling, suffering in your life, there is help. So you have to go beyond your structure, mental structure. Open up to awareness, pure awareness. You have to awake to your self-awareness program, and now is the moment to be free. So another excellent point was when the Master said that originally the creation was meant to maintain a clear, distinct perception of all other selves you are. So originally, before the fallen, the so-called fallen, human being was able to recognize his higher self and all the other self that are there far higher and higher till reaching the divine. Originally we were meant to maintain this link with them, and may sound so, but a lot of messages are arriving stating this, confirming that this fall of the human being was not in the divine plan 100%. It was a possibility, and it happened. But also if you read the Course of Miracle, it is stated the same principle. So the human fall, but we are acquiring it back. We are in a good way to reach again a state of pure knowledge, awareness of our consciousness, and in time the new golden age will make sure that human being will again be on the same connection with the divine reality. Another point is the seriality, the definition of this new term, seriality. Seriality is the ability to see the self. And they say seeing the self is knowing the self. Desire part that we all have. I'm making this juxtaposition because many times they say that the higher self is like a little bit above us, 3 feet, maybe more. It can move. The more you became aligned with it, it can descend. Like sometimes you see the halo of light of many realized men. It is the higher self which has bringing his energy in physicality. So seeing the self is knowing it. It's also we are too attached to the human experience. We are not interested in the self. But the human experience, he said, is overvalued, the most finite, the briefest, with most obstacle, with most displeasures. So all the other selves that we are also are better to be lived, undoubtedly. But this is not to talk bad about the human experience, because, as I said, when enlightened, the human experience can become glorious. He said the problem with human beings is that they tend to inflate their mind and emotion. They want to convince spirit, their other part, the spirit part, to return to the flesh again and again. This is the real matrix. He said, listen to this for everybody. He said, this is the real matrix, your human mind which is attached to your human self, more than a system of draconians, reptilian beings, all the nonsense that the spirituality nowadays is talking about on the internet. Sometimes like we are threatened by some external force, and they don't want us to know things, they don't want us to be free, and so there is this talking. So the real imprisonment is created by yourself, from your human nature. an aspect of your soul, he said, not the ego, that wants to be imprisoned, it strives to be imprisoned, because it's so good to be alive, isn't it? But it can be better, it can be better. Then he introduces this new term again, kabamba. And by the way, I want to say, all these new terms, it can be a force to be learned, but if you realize that for centuries, millennia, human consciousness has been out of the line of evolution, and also the language, it is not something which has gone in the same way of the consciousness of the people at the time. We need new words to describe new experiences, new qualities, and the master is so creative, no? So we are introducing all these words that in our line of ascension, the Shalom line for some, for who is in the Shalom, will help, in understanding and formulating these new experiences and in communicating to the others. So again, this is new term, kabamba. This is the particle of consciousness that perpetuates or promotes duality. This is not the culprit. It is not his fault if we are stuck in magics, but this particle that we are inside of us, which split the feminine and the masculine, the kabamba particle, is there. Nonetheless, it's good to know, and in the future we will discuss more. The master said also that this imprisonment in the human flesh can be very enriching. In fact, a lot of expanded self, of higher selves, they learn from this human experience. They are acquiring some knowledge, some wisdom from all the desperate experience that we live. So it's also good under this, we are evolving by living our experience. And all these experience, they still bring excitement either to the human and to the spiritual self. But that we have reached the point when we are suggested to drop this veil. This veil means the famous veil of Maya, that the reality is only matter, is only objective. We have to expand our perception, drop the veil of the senses, and discover our higher self, our creator self, and serve our higher self. Because the desire that we have as human are a little different. I must say, are different from the desire of a spiritual side of life. Because those desires are the true desire of our consciousness. And it's like, as a human being, we want to have more. As a spiritual being, we want to be more, to become more of who we are. So there are two different planes. The vertical plane never changes, the horizontal plane, which we are in the line of the evolution, aligned with the evolution. Again, a lot of concept this lesson. So we don't have to fear our spiritual self and the desire of our spiritual self, because those desires are serving us, are truly serving us, are not against. And also there is no battle between our two parts. If we allow all these selves to be present in the same space, there is no struggling. What space we are talking about is our personality. The space in which our personality is created and projected. In the same space, they can be both arranged and they can work in synergy. The human problem solving, what has done? Has only reinforced the problem. The human problem solving. Throughout history, we have not been able to resolve famine, health issue, poverty, and so on. This thing that work has never really functioned, but the spiritual thing that work is the definite one, is the only one able to resolve the human experience. The Master said that the human self and the spirit self has to make peace. There is no fear. They are not one against the other. Absolutely. And when the human self realizes he needs to serve the spirit self, and he needs to make amend, it is when truly awakening can blossom and the spirit self can work synchronously, harmoniously. And he say, it can also please the human self, perhaps making your journey less burdensome, less painful, less tedious, less caustic, and less exhausting. And this is true. Awakening is tough, but relying on your spirit can truly help you in many ways. Namaste.